Welcome to today's video, where we're about to explore the hidden aspects of the female psyche. While women often seem strong, independent, and emotionally resilient on the surface, they, like everyone, have vulnerabilities that they often try to keep hidden. These weaknesses are not flaws. Rather, they're part of the human experience, emotions, fears, and insecurities that we all face at some point. The difference is that women may feel a stronger need to protect these aspects of themselves, fearing judgment or rejection. As we dive deeper into these 7 weaknesses, we'll also apply Stoic wisdom, philosophies that encourage acceptance, understanding, and emotional resilience. Stoicism teaches us to approach life's challenges with clarity, control over our emotions, and a sense of peace in the face of adversity. Understanding these hidden aspects can make you more empathetic, more aware of how to respond to the women in your life, and ultimately, it can make your relationships stronger and more meaningful. In this video, we'll uncover the fears, insecurities, and emotional needs that women often keep hidden, and how understanding them can give you a better perspective on how to approach your relationships with kindness and patience. The goal here is not just to identify these vulnerabilities, but also to develop a deeper sense of compassion, which leads to healthier, more grounded relationships. So, whether you're in a relationship or simply looking to better understand the women around you, stay tuned as we uncover the 7 weaknesses that every woman tries to hide from you. Number 1. Fear of rejection. Rejection is one of the most universal fears people experience, and it's no different for women. Despite their often confident and composed appearances, many women harbor a deep fear of being rejected, whether in romantic relationships, friendships, or even in professional settings. This fear can be incredibly powerful, shaping the way they interact with others and the choices they make. For many women, the fear of rejection is rooted in the desire to be accepted, valued, and loved, and the possibility of being rejected feels like a direct attack on their worth as individuals. This fear may manifest in many ways, from hesitation to speak up in a conversation, avoiding emotional vulnerability, or even choosing to hide their true selves to avoid potential judgment or dismissal. It's important to note that the fear of rejection is not exclusive to women, but it is often more pronounced in them due to societal expectations and pressures. From a young age, women are often taught to seek validation and approval from others, especially from men, family, and peers. The media, cultural norms, and social expectations emphasize ideals of beauty, behavior, and success that can lead to feelings of inadequacy. If a woman doesn't meet these standards, the fear of rejection intensifies. This is particularly true in romantic relationships, where women may internalize societal messages that their value is tied to being desired and accepted by a partner. The fear that they might not be seen as good enough can create a wall around their emotions, leaving them hesitant to fully invest in relationships for fear that their feelings will not be reciprocated. For many women, the rejection they fear isn't just about an individual's rejection, but also about the fear of feeling invisible, overlooked, or unimportant. This can extend to career settings as well. Women in professional environments often struggle with imposter syndrome, a type of self-doubt that makes them feel as though they're not truly worthy of their success, which leaves them terrified of being exposed as frauds. The same fear exists in friendships too, where a woman might fear being cast aside by her social circle or not measuring up to the expectations of her peers. These fears, while they might seem small or insignificant on the surface, can have a profound impact on the way a woman behaves in different aspects of her life. Stoicism offers valuable insight when it comes to dealing with this fear. The Stoic philosophy teaches the importance of understanding and accepting that rejection, like many other negative experiences, is an inevitable part of life. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, often wrote about accepting things beyond our control and focusing on how we respond to them. According to Stoicism, rejection is not a reflection of our intrinsic worth, but rather a result of the choices or preferences of others, which is beyond our control. In fact, Stoics encourage us to reframe our perspective on rejection by seeing it as an opportunity for growth rather than something to avoid at all costs. One of the most empowering Stoic practices is the concept of amor fati, which translates to love of fate. This idea encourages us to embrace whatever happens, including rejection, with gratitude. Rejection can teach us valuable lessons, help us build emotional resilience, and help us refine our desires and goals. Rather than viewing rejection as a negative experience, we can choose to see it as a moment to practice acceptance and to maintain our sense of self-worth, regardless of external validation. Another Stoic principle that can help women overcome the fear of rejection is the practice of self-control and emotional discipline. The Stoics believed that our emotional reactions are within our control, even if external circumstances are not. By training ourselves to remain calm and unshaken in the face of rejection, we can protect ourselves from the emotional turmoil that often accompanies it. Instead of falling into self-doubt or despair, Stoic wisdom teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own actions, thoughts, and reactions. This inner strength allows us to navigate rejection with grace and dignity, no longer seeing it as a threat to our self-worth, but as part of the natural course of life. Number 2. Insecurity about appearance. Insecurity about appearance is an issue that many women face, often more intensely than they may express outwardly. From a young age, societal expectations begin shaping how women perceive themselves. Media, fashion, and beauty standards continually promote certain ideals of attractiveness, frequently emphasizing thinness, youth, and flawless skin. As a result, women often internalize these images, believing that their worth is directly tied to how closely they can align with these standards. Even the most confident woman can experience moments of self-doubt when comparing herself to these images, leading to insecurity about her physical appearance. The desire to meet these beauty ideals can cause women to place enormous pressure on themselves. This pressure can manifest in numerous ways, including excessive dieting, spending hours on beauty routines, or even undergoing surgeries in an attempt to change their appearance. Women may find themselves constantly scrutinizing their bodies in the mirror, measuring their self-worth by the standards set by others. The notion of being beautiful often becomes a central focus, overshadowing other aspects of self-identity such as personality, intelligence, and accomplishments. For many women, this constant focus on appearance can become a source of anxiety and frustration, leading to a never-ending cycle of self-criticism and comparison. Insecurity about appearance is not limited to physical traits like body shape, but also extends to features such as hair, skin color, height, and even the way one dresses. For example, women with dark skin may feel insecure because of the lack of representation in the media, while women with lighter skin might feel overlooked if they don't fit the ideal of a particular culture. Similarly, women with curly hair may struggle with the desire for straight hair, and those with larger body types may feel marginalized by the prevalence of thin models in fashion campaigns. The result is often an internalized message that if they do not meet these appearance-based standards, they are somehow less than others. This insecurity can also affect women's emotional well-being and interpersonal relationships. They may avoid social situations, fearing that others are judging their appearance, or they may feel unworthy of love and admiration. In romantic relationships, this insecurity can lead to fears of not being enough for a partner or concerns about being replaced by someone more attractive. In some cases, women may even find it difficult to accept compliments because they don't believe they deserve them. This disconnect between how they see themselves and how others perceive them can create a deep sense of isolation. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to the insecurity many women feel about their appearance. The core principle of Stoicism is the distinction between what is in our control and what is not. We cannot control our genetic traits or how society chooses to define beauty, but we can control how we react to these external standards. According to Stoic philosophy, true beauty does not lie in physical appearance, but in the character, wisdom, and virtue of a person. A person who cultivates qualities like kindness, integrity, and self-discipline is far more valuable than someone who merely meets superficial ideals of beauty. In his writings, Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the transient nature of the body, emphasizing that the physical form is temporary and constantly changing. By focusing on inner strength and wisdom, a Stoic can begin to view the body as a vessel that serves a temporary purpose, not the core of one's identity. This mindset helps shift the focus from appearance to character, encouraging a woman to value herself for who she is internally rather than her physical features. Understanding that physical beauty fades with time can foster a sense of acceptance and peace with one's natural appearance, allowing a woman to find self-worth beyond superficial attributes. Moreover, Stoicism teaches the practice of amor fati, or love of fate, which encourages individuals to embrace their bodies as they are, rather than wishing for them to be different. A Stoic embraces every aspect of themselves, recognizing that the body is an integral part of their journey in life. Through self-compassion and acceptance, women can begin to detach from external validation and embrace the idea that their value comes from their actions, their thoughts, and the way they treat others, not from how they look. Number 3. Need for emotional support. The need for emotional support is a natural part of the human experience, and for many women, it can feel particularly intense. Women are often socialized to be nurturing, compassionate, and empathetic, roles that encourage them to care deeply for others' emotional well-being. However, this emotional intelligence can lead to the expectation that they must always be there for others, leaving their own emotional needs underaddressed. In fact, many women may feel a strong desire for emotional support themselves, but may not always know how or when to seek it. The difficulty in acknowledging their need for emotional support can stem from the cultural pressure to appear strong, self-sufficient, and composed. The desire for emotional connection and support is essential for everyone, but for many women, there is a particular sense of vulnerability when it comes to emotional well-being. This vulnerability can become even more apparent during times of stress, loss, or personal crisis, when the emotional weight of life feels overwhelming. At such times, the need for understanding, comfort, and encouragement can be felt more deeply. However, societal norms often discourage women from being vulnerable, leading them to hide or suppress their emotional needs for fear of being perceived as weak or overly emotional. The fear of burdening others with their emotions can make women hesitant to ask for help. They might worry that sharing their struggles will make them seem needy or demanding, or they may believe that they should be able to handle things on their own. This fear of appearing weak or incapable can lead to emotional isolation, where women bottle up their feelings instead of reaching out to others. It's a delicate balance. While women may crave emotional support, they might also feel as though they're supposed to be the emotional rock for those around them, especially in romantic relationships, friendships, or even in their families. The weight of this dual expectation can create feelings of emotional exhaustion and loneliness, even when surrounded by people. Another reason women may struggle with seeking emotional support is rooted in their desire for control. Many women are conditioned to take care of others, whether it's their children, partners, or friends, and this caregiving role can make it difficult for them to acknowledge their own emotional needs. Women might feel that, by seeking support, they are relinquishing control or showing vulnerability, both of which can feel uncomfortable. There can also be a fear of rejection or invalidation. If the support they receive isn't what they expected, it could lead to further emotional distress. From a Stoic perspective, the need for emotional support is not a sign of weakness, but a part of the human condition. Stoicism teaches that emotions are natural, but that they should be managed wisely. The Stoics acknowledged that human beings are social creatures and that we need connection with others. Seneca, a Roman Stoic philosopher, wrote about the importance of friendship and mutual support, stating that the best friendships are those in which both individuals support each other emotionally and morally. The Stoic approach to emotional support isn't about avoiding or suppressing emotions, but understanding and managing them effectively. One key Stoic practice is apatheia, which is the idea of becoming emotionally resilient and unaffected by external events. However, apatheia does not mean becoming emotionless or cold. Rather, it's about developing emotional control so that we are not controlled by our feelings. In moments when emotional support is needed, Stoics would encourage women to first acknowledge their emotions and then seek support from those who provide it without overburdening them. Rather than looking for constant validation or reassurance from others, Stoicism teaches that a woman can find inner peace by cultivating self-reliance and emotional clarity. For women who feel the need for emotional support, Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of focusing on things within their control. They may not always be able to change the behavior of others or the circumstances surrounding their emotional state, but they can choose how to react. By practicing eudaimonia, or living in accordance with one's true nature, women can develop a deeper sense of self-compassion and self-reliance. This doesn't mean that they should reject emotional support from others. Instead, it's about learning to balance external support with inner strength, knowing that while others can provide comfort, true emotional resilience comes from within. Number 4. Fear of losing control. The fear of losing control is a powerful and often paralyzing emotion that many women experience in their lives. This fear can stem from a variety of sources, personal, social, and cultural, and manifests in different ways, such as anxiety, perfectionism, or an overwhelming need to micromanage situations. For women, the fear of losing control may feel even more intense due to the high expectations placed upon them. In a society that often demands that women juggle multiple roles, caregiver, professional, partner, and friend, there is a constant pressure to maintain a perfect sense of control over all aspects of their lives. When that sense of control feels threatened, it can lead to stress, self-doubt, and emotional turmoil. The need for control often begins at an early age, as women are taught to be responsible, reliable, and self-sufficient. From the pressure to perform well in school, to the expectation of managing household tasks and emotional responsibilities within relationships, the demand for control can feel endless. Women may begin to equate their self-worth with their ability to maintain order, often believing that any slip-up or loss of control reflects personal failure. This mindset can lead to chronic stress and burnout, as the pursuit of perfection becomes a constant and exhausting endeavor. One of the primary reasons women fear losing control is the perceived consequences of not being able to manage their lives. In relationships, whether with a partner, family, or friends, the fear of losing control can manifest as a desire to manage every aspect of the relationship, whether it's ensuring that things go according to plan or trying to control the behavior of others. Women may fear that if they let go of control, relationships will fall apart or they will be seen as weak or incompetent. In their careers, women may fear that losing control will lead to failure or rejection, which can feel particularly daunting in environments where they already face gender biases and expectations. In a broader societal context, the fear of losing control can also be connected to the desire for perfection. Women may fear that not living up to external standards, whether that's body image, social status, or career success, will result in judgment or rejection. The need to maintain control over these external factors can create a toxic cycle of self-monitoring and anxiety. This is often compounded by the pressure to maintain a sense of having it all together, even when inside, women might feel overwhelmed or uncertain. However, Stoicism offers a different perspective on control and its role in life. According to Stoic philosophy, one of the key tenets is distinguishing between things within our control and things outside our control. The Stoics teach that while we cannot control external events or the actions of others, we do have control over our reactions, our choices, and our internal state. Recognizing this distinction can be incredibly liberating for women who feel trapped by the need to control every aspect of their lives. When women learn to focus on what they can control, their thoughts, emotions, and actions, they are able to let go of the fear of losing control over things that are beyond their power. In his writings, Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of accepting the unpredictability of life and learning to adapt to circumstances as they arise. He famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This wisdom helps shift the focus away from attempting to control the uncontrollable and toward mastering one's inner life. For women, this means accepting that certain things, like the behavior of others, unexpected life events, or societal pressures, are outside their control. By focusing on how they respond to these situations, they can reduce anxiety and relinquish the need for constant control. Another Stoic practice that addresses the fear of losing control is amor fati, or the love of fate. This concept teaches individuals to embrace all aspects of life, including challenges and uncertainties, as part of their personal journey. Rather than fearing loss of control or undesirable outcomes, Stoicism encourages women to view life's unpredictability as an opportunity for growth. By accepting what is, rather than resisting it, women can find peace and confidence in their ability to navigate whatever comes their way. Number 5. Difficulty trusting others. Trust is a fundamental element of all human relationships, but for many women, trusting others can be incredibly challenging. Whether in friendships, family dynamics, or romantic relationships, women often face emotional turmoil when it comes to fully opening up and placing trust in others. The difficulty in trusting others can stem from a variety of personal experiences, including past betrayals, disappointments, or a history of being let down by people they depended on. When trust is broken, it can take a long time to heal, and the fear of being hurt again can lead to emotional guardedness and reluctance to form close bonds with others. One of the most significant factors contributing to difficulty in trusting others is past betrayal or betrayal by those closest to them. Women, like everyone, need to feel emotionally safe in their relationships. When trust is violated, it can create a lasting impact on their ability to trust others in the future. The feeling of being betrayed by a loved one can be deeply painful, causing a sense of vulnerability and leaving emotional scars that make future connections difficult. The fear of repeating such pain can lead to caution, skepticism, and hesitation to open up again. In addition to past betrayals, societal and cultural factors can also contribute to a woman's difficulty in trusting others. From an early age, women are often taught to be cautious about whom they allow into their lives, especially in romantic relationships. This caution is not always a reflection of insecurity, but rather a survival instinct in a world where women sometimes face manipulation, mistreatment, or exploitation. The reality of these challenges can lead to a form of emotional self-protection, where women, in an effort to avoid being hurt, may hold back from fully trusting others. Women may also find it difficult to trust because of internalized fears about being judged, misunderstood, or not measuring up. These fears can result from perfectionist tendencies, where a woman feels the need to meet high expectations set by herself or others. If she believes that she is not enough, the fear of others discovering her perceived flaws or weaknesses can lead to emotional withdrawal and hesitation in building trust. This can be compounded by societal pressure to be perfect, whether in appearance, career, or relationships, which can create an internal conflict when it comes to being vulnerable with others. From a Stoic perspective, difficulty in trusting others is not inherently negative, but it requires careful introspection and understanding. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control the actions or behaviors of others, but we do have control over our responses and judgments. In the context of trust, this means that while it is natural to feel cautious or hesitant after a betrayal, the Stoic approach encourages women to focus on their own ability to maintain emotional composure, regardless of the actions of others. Stoicism advocates for ataraxia, a state of inner calm which allows individuals to navigate the complexities of trust without being overwhelmed by external circumstances. One key Stoic concept that can help women in overcoming their difficulty in trusting others is the idea of virtue. Stoics believe that cultivating virtue, such as wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, leads to a strong sense of personal integrity, which in turn can help one navigate trust in relationships. When a woman is focused on developing her own virtue, she is less likely to be emotionally dependent on others for validation or security. This self-reliance can make it easier to trust others, as it allows her to approach relationships with an open heart, without the overwhelming fear of being let down. Trust, from this perspective, becomes a conscious choice based on mutual respect and shared values, rather than blind faith or unguarded vulnerability. Another important Stoic practice for dealing with difficulty in trusting others is the exercise of prohairesis, our ability to choose how we respond to external events. When trust is broken, Stoicism teaches that we have the power to decide how we will react. We can choose to hold on to our resentment, or we can choose to accept the event with equanimity and learn from it. The Stoics believed that life would inevitably present challenges, including situations where trust might be broken, but that these challenges are opportunities for personal growth. Rather than allowing betrayal or disappointment to define our future relationships, we can use these experiences to cultivate emotional resilience and wisdom. Number 6. Pressure to be perfect. The pressure to be perfect is a burden that many women face, and it often manifests in various aspects of their lives: appearance, relationships, careers, and even their social interactions. This pressure is not a modern invention, but rather a societal expectation that has been cultivated over generations. From an early age, women are often taught to be perfect in their roles as daughters, friends, professionals, and mothers. Whether it's through media representations, cultural standards, or personal expectations, the message is clear: women must strive for flawlessness to be accepted, loved, and valued. This constant drive for perfection can lead to immense stress, self-doubt, and anxiety, making it difficult for women to ever feel truly content or at peace with themselves. In many cases, the pressure to be perfect is not only about outward appearances, but also about meeting certain internal standards. Women are expected to balance their professional lives with their personal ones, all while maintaining a certain level of beauty, grace, and composure. The demand to excel in all these areas can be overwhelming. A woman may feel compelled to look flawless, perform at her best in every aspect of her career, and manage her relationships flawlessly, often at the expense of her own well-being. There's little room for mistakes, failure, or vulnerability, as imperfection is often equated with weakness or inadequacy. This results in a constant cycle of striving for unattainable standards, where even small imperfections are magnified, leading to feelings of inadequacy and self-criticism. One of the most significant ways this pressure impacts women is in their self-esteem. When women are constantly measuring themselves against impossible ideals, they may begin to internalize the belief that they are not enough if they don't meet these standards. The social media age has only intensified this pressure, as women are bombarded with carefully curated images of others who appear to have it all together. These comparisons can distort their sense of self-worth, making them feel inadequate or inferior in comparison. This pressure to conform to a certain image or standard can create a deep sense of dissatisfaction, as women constantly chase after an ideal that doesn't align with their authentic selves. The problem with the pursuit of perfection is that it is inherently unattainable. Perfection is a subjective and fleeting concept, and as soon as one standard is met, another takes its place. The pursuit of perfection becomes a never-ending cycle where the goalposts are constantly shifting. Women may strive to be the perfect partner, the perfect employee, the perfect mother, and the perfect friend. But in doing so, they lose sight of their own desires and needs. Their worth is tied to the roles they play and the expectations they fulfill, rather than being rooted in their inherent value as individuals. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this relentless pursuit of perfection. Stoics believe that true peace and contentment come from within, and that we should focus on what is in our control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, rather than external expectations or outcomes. The Stoics recognize that life is inherently imperfect, and that striving for perfection in every area of life is a futile endeavor. Instead, they encourage women to embrace their imperfections and understand that it is the acceptance of their flaws, not the denial of them, that leads to true growth and happiness. One of the central teachings of Stoicism is the concept of amor fati, which means love of fate. This principle teaches that we should not just accept the things that happen to us, but love them, as they are part of the larger story of our lives. Embracing imperfection means embracing the totality of life, its ups and downs, its successes and failures. Stoics believe that everything that happens is an opportunity for growth, and that even mistakes and setbacks can teach valuable lessons. Instead of striving for perfection, the Stoic approach focuses on becoming the best version of oneself through self-discipline, reflection, and the cultivation of virtue. Furthermore, the Stoic practice of Epictetus, the ability to control one's reactions and emotions, helps women shift their focus from external validation to internal peace. According to Epictetus, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This means that the judgment of others or societal standards should not define a woman's sense of self-worth. Instead, a woman's self-esteem should come from her ability to act virtuously and with integrity, regardless of external pressures. Another Stoic concept that addresses the pressure to be perfect is the idea of ataraxia, or inner peace. By practicing mindfulness, self-reflection, and acceptance, women can learn to find peace within themselves, even when external circumstances are not ideal. Stoicism teaches that happiness is not found in the achievement of perfection, but in the mastery of one's mind and emotions. When women focus on cultivating a sense of inner tranquility, they can let go of the unrealistic expectations that weigh them down. Number 7. Fear of vulnerability. For many women, vulnerability can be one of the most intimidating and difficult emotional experiences to navigate. In a society that often values strength, independence, and emotional resilience, allowing oneself to be vulnerable is frequently viewed as a sign of weakness. Women in particular may face cultural pressures to appear strong, composed, and in control at all times, leading to an intense fear of exposing their true emotions or revealing any form of perceived weakness. This fear of vulnerability can create a barrier to deep connections with others, prevent authentic self-expression, and hinder emotional healing. The internal conflict between the desire to be seen and heard and the fear of being judged or rejected can leave women feeling trapped in a cycle of emotional guardedness. The fear of vulnerability often arises from past experiences of being hurt or rejected when being open with others. A woman who has been emotionally wounded in the past, whether through betrayal, rejection, or criticism, may come to view vulnerability as dangerous. She may feel that exposing her true self will make her a target for further harm. This fear can manifest as emotional withholding, where she keeps her feelings, needs, and desires hidden behind a facade of strength and composure. While this emotional armor may provide a temporary sense of safety, it ultimately prevents genuine connection with others and prevents the woman from experiencing the depth of love, friendship, and emotional intimacy that vulnerability can bring. In addition to personal experiences, societal norms also contribute to the fear of vulnerability in women. Throughout history, women have often been taught to prioritize the needs of others and to sacrifice their own emotions for the sake of maintaining harmony and balance in relationships. The cultural ideal of women as caregivers and nurturers often leaves little room for women to express their own emotional needs or to show vulnerability without fear of being judged or criticized. This can create an internal struggle where women feel they must choose between being emotionally available for others or being emotionally guarded to protect themselves. The fear of being seen as too emotional or too weak can discourage women from opening up, even when doing so would lead to healing and growth. The Stoic philosophy offers a powerful framework for addressing the fear of vulnerability. At its core, Stoicism teaches that our emotions and reactions are within our control, and that we should not let external circumstances or the opinions of others dictate our sense of self-worth. One of the most significant Stoic teachings that can help women with the fear of vulnerability is the concept of ataraxia, or inner peace. Stoics believe that true emotional resilience comes from accepting the things we cannot change and focusing on cultivating a calm and stable mind. By practicing ataraxia, women can begin to let go of the fear of judgment or rejection that often accompanies vulnerability. Instead of fearing emotional exposure, they can embrace the idea that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a form of strength and courage. Another Stoic principle that directly addresses the fear of vulnerability is the practice of amor fati, or love of fate. This concept encourages individuals to accept and embrace whatever happens in life, including the moments of emotional pain, heartbreak, or discomfort that come with vulnerability. The Stoics believed that everything that occurs in life is an opportunity for growth, and that vulnerability, far from being something to fear, is an essential part of the human experience. When women practice amor fati, they can learn to view vulnerability not as something to avoid, but as an opportunity to grow emotionally and connect more deeply with others. Furthermore, the Stoic practice of prohairesis, or the ability to choose one's response to external events, can help women manage the fear of vulnerability. The Stoics teach that while we cannot control the actions or judgments of others, we do have the power to choose how we respond to them. This means that women can choose to embrace vulnerability despite the fear of rejection or judgment. By focusing on their internal response, maintaining emotional composure, courage, and integrity, they can approach vulnerability with a sense of agency, rather than passivity. The act of choosing vulnerability becomes a conscious decision to prioritize authentic connection over fear of potential harm. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and personal growth. In a world that often values emotional stoicism, women may feel that expressing vulnerability is a sign of failure or inadequacy. However, Stoic philosophy teaches that true strength lies not in the suppression of emotions, but in the ability to manage them with wisdom and awareness. By reflecting on their fears and examining the root causes of their resistance to vulnerability, women can gain insight into the emotional barriers they have built to protect themselves. This introspection allows them to recognize that vulnerability is not synonymous with weakness, but rather a necessary aspect of human connection and emotional growth. In conclusion, the fear of vulnerability is a common and deeply ingrained struggle for many women. Rooted in past experiences of emotional pain, societal expectations, and cultural pressures, this fear often leads women to withhold their true selves in relationships, preventing them from forming deep, meaningful connections. However, Stoic philosophy offers valuable tools for overcoming this fear. By practicing ataraxia, embracing amor fati, and choosing vulnerability with self-awareness, women can confront their fears and reclaim their emotional freedom. Rather than viewing vulnerability as a weakness, Stoicism teaches that it is a courageous and empowering act, one that opens the door to authentic relationships, emotional healing, and personal growth.